out-grapple a wrestler, considering I'm from the UK and I have no wrestling background, you know, so the UK wrestling is on point, should I say. I'll give myself a good 7. I'm not 100% happy because obviously it's the whole performance, so I've still got some stuff to work on, but obviously super happy with the performance, you know, well, super happy with the outcome, with the victory, should I say. So.
Yeah. And speaking on the wrestling, we had spoken to Tyrell right after your scrum on Wednesday, and he had told us that he was actually your wrestling coach for a little bit when he worked at Hard Knocks at the time, or Sanford. I don't know if it was Hard Knocks or Sanford at the time.
So he was at Hard Knocks before me,
okay.
So he never coached me wrestling.
Okay.
Not when I was there anyway, but what happened, I was getting ready to fight Phil Davis. I needed a wrestler, so I did call him in to help me, and he was there for 2 weeks, but we really worked together for like about a week. And pretty much what that was, I was on my back, he was on top, hold me down. If I escaped, just go back to that position. And that's pretty much all we did. So he wasn't actually my wrestling coach.
Gotcha, yeah.
You know, he came to help me, so that's exactly what happened. So I never actually got to really see what he had to bring. And I was definitely impressed with his striking because he ended up cutting me and I couldn't find my distance and my time with the striking. So I sort of went into my wrestling and, you know, it all sort of happened. I was able to reverse him and get on top and land some damage and get the win.
Now, did you plan on wrestling him? Because, you know, he's known for his wrestling, so that's probably, you know, not something everybody thinks of, but I think a lot of people were surprised, not that they doubt any on your skills, but, you know, his background, that you were able to out-wrestle him and you were winning most of those exchanges.
Yeah, well, I have an amazing wrestling coach, Greg Jackson. Greg Jones.
Greg Jones.
Greg Jones.
Greg Jackson also.
I know, right? Greg Jones. So whenever I started doing mixed martial arts, I ended up doing jiu-jitsu. I used to watch WWE, and when I first went to actually train, I was doing wrestling moves like that. And then my coach at the time, Danny Batten, obviously made me more technical. And then came here, obviously, and worked with Greg Jones. And I sort of felt like I just put it all together. And it's grappling more than wrestling or jiu-jitsu. I just put it together. And the sessions we do with Sammy Guevara as well, and Greg Jones, we just do a different type. We do a lot of shark tanks. You see there right now, Cole Noblet. He's been my training partner for a solid year. You know, he helped me for the Greg Jones. Well, I'm getting my words mixed up. Tyrell Fortune, and yeah, getting me super ready. So yeah, to out grapple Tyrell, yeah, it was definitely a big feather in my cap, and hopefully, you know, a lot of people took notice. You know.
Certainly. Lastly, you told us leading up to the fight that you thought that this was sort of a title eliminator. You know,
yes.
You're on a nice streak. If you picked up a victory here, you were next in line. Do you still feel that way following the fight? Where do you go next?
I do. I would like another fight, but at the end of the day, you know, I always feel like we're our own worst enemies. We all want to, you know, have an amazing performance. It would have been nice to knock him out or even finish him. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm 38 now. That's 3 wins. You know, I beat Sergey Karatonov, who was supposed to be fighting for the belt if he beat me. Ronnie Marks, you know, another black belt, and then 11-1 Tyrell Fortune, who was on a winning streak as well. And I beat 3 of them, so I don't know who should be next really to fight either Brian Bader or Valentin Modowski. So I feel like I'm next, but it's not up to me, is it? So whoever Scott Coker is, you know, we have a word of him and see what he says.
Jim Vassell, Miami Herald. Hey, first, that bout, it was so interesting. You talked to Danny about it and all. As far as the reversals,
yes,
you were able to escape at least twice, and he was not able to do that. Then it looked like you were going for the submission. I was talking to another journalist friend next to me, and he was saying, no, he's not trying to go for the punches. He's really trying to go for the submission. So I just wanted to get your take on that part of it and what you were trying to do there.
So I always go for finishes, whether it be ground and pound or the submission. And Tyrell was so strong and powerful. Like there's a couple of times he just stood up and shook me off. So I sort of had him at a position where I thought, if I go for the submission, he may reverse. But if I don't go for it and he reverses, so it was sort of, what should I do? So I thought, let's go for the submission, and it was about 50% on. It wasn't on. So I ended up sort of bailing on it and then trying for the power half and a bit of ground and pound. Again, he's so strong. He was standing up on his forearm, and I was trying to break him down. I just couldn't do it. So yeah, I did try. It didn't go obviously that way. So I just carried on, you know, trying to wear him down a little bit and go for the finish with the ground and pound, or take him in some later rounds where I could hopefully finish him.
And you were able to control that and do that. He wasn't. One time he almost got up, but then you took him right back down, especially in that third round.
Yes,
which was it.
I could see him getting tired. Like he had a good poker face. And yeah, I could feel. There was one time where we were like obviously just slugging it out in the third. I think it was start of the third, and I did hit him, and he said he couldn't see. He was talking to me. He said he couldn't see, but he had me by the legs. And I couldn't really do too much, and I think he ended up taking me down, and I knew like I'm gonna reverse you, because again that's sort of my thing. Like if you do take me down, I do end up trying to get up and try and reverse and escape. So that's what happened, and I think that's what ended me edging that third round. I think we were one apiece, maybe going into the third.
And lastly, for me, you mentioned WWE, so any thoughts from you of maybe giving that a try? All the ATT people are doing that.
I know. I like being a fan, but I don't know, man. They take too many bumps, you know, like too many bumps for me, like, and I feel like there's more injuries in that than there is doing what we do. So unless they offered me some silly money and I didn't have to take like a tombstone or a Brock Lesnar suplex, then maybe, but yeah, we'll see.
Dan Arlovski of Fightful here. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
There was at one point where you got hit below the belt after you hit him below the belt. There are some saying that might have been intentional or not by Fortune. Do you think that was the case or no?
I'm gonna say no, but you know, like, because again, at the end of the day, we're in there fighting and we just throw the stuff. Like he said I hit him twice. Some people say it was once. The second time wasn't. You know, I never intentionally went him in the nuts either. It's one of them things. Like I hope it wasn't. You know, but it's one of them things. You're in the moment and you just throwing knees, and sometimes they do get low. You know, so I'm gonna say no. It wasn't intentional for him.
Fair enough. And you're ranked 6th right now in the heavyweight rankings. Now, there's an issue with the interim title and the regular heavyweight title. Would you be interested in fighting before you could potentially become the #1 contender, say like a Czech Congo or anybody like that?
Well, Czech's off that list is my good friend. You know, he was one of the first guys. Whenever I came to Bellator, he actually looked after me. Like when I first came to America, I stayed with him for like 8 weeks. You know, at one of his friend's house. You know, so we're good friends. So that's one guy I can't fight. I couldn't do that.
Even if he was in your way?
Even if it was in my way, you know, like in the day there's a lot more people to fight. You know, that doesn't interest me. And the same with Steve Murray. Like, I've known Steve for 7 years. One of my main training partners, good friend. I'm like uncle to his daughter. You know, it's like when it's that close, there's more fights than that. And I don't think it would ever be the same again. You fight your friend like that, you know, you're not going to be the same again. So it don't interest me.
Fair enough. Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
All right, Lynn. Thank you very much for the time. Congrats on the win.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Recording stop.